And welcome everybody to Pick Some Politics. I'm Dan Manarino, and our big story of the week, New York City has a new police commissioner. Former Sanitation Commissioner Jessica Tisch, now leading the NYPD. She's only the second woman to lead the nation's largest police department. And in naming Tisch as commissioner, Mayor Adams pushed back against criticism that his new commissioner would have difficulty leading the department because she was never a sworn officer. But Ms. Tisch is no stranger to the NYPD. Prior to serving as Sanitation Commissioner, Tisch served as the Deputy Commissioner for the NYPD Department of Information Technology. She launched body cameras and smartphones for police. She also introduced a gunshot detection system and made sure that police radios worked in the subway. Her first job with the city was when she joined the NYPD Counterterrorism Bureau as a planning and policy director after 9/11. Now, she helped deploy mobile radiation detectors and a digital sharing tool for surveillance cameras and license plate readers. And today, Commissioner Jessica Tisch goes on the record. And Commissioner, great to have you here back on Pick Some Politics. Just 2 weeks ago as Sanitation Commissioner, now as Police Commissioner.
It's great to be here as Police Commissioner.
Let me ask you first and foremost when you got that news, because did you know when you were here 2 weeks ago?
I did not. I promise you, Dan, I did not. I actually found out the night before everyone else found out.
Okay, and that was a phone call from the mayor himself.
It was a phone call from the mayor himself.
And let's talk about where we are right now. You are the fourth commissioner to take over now in the mayor's first term. Some would say that's a bit odd when you look at it. So for New Yorkers who are looking for someone to steady the ship and maintain safety in New York City, what is your message to them when there has been such a turnover?
That's what I do. I am a 17-year veteran of New York City government. I spent 12 years in the NYPD. I'm a modernizer. Every place I've gone, I've put my attention to modernizing and leaving the place better than how I found it. And I do look at myself as a stabilizing force, and that's certainly part of the assignment here.
Even every commissioner has their own team. You had your own team when you were Sanitation Commissioner, right? So do you like how the department looks right now, or do you want to reshape some of the top administration and have your own team to get what you see as top priorities done, or are you satisfied with who's in place?
Oh, every leader builds their own team. That's standard not only in city government, but really anywhere you work. And so, of course, I will put the right people on the bus and put them on the right seats on the bus, as Commissioner Bratton says.
Do you think that you will be able to do that solely, or do you have to have the mayor approve any changes you want to make?
The mayor has been a wonderful partner to me. I have never had any issue, worked with him for 3 years, hiring people that I've wanted to hire, hired a lot of new people in the Department of Sanitation, and we have a great working relationship. You
know, Commissioner, you're taking over at a time where overall crime is down. We heard from the NYPD over and over again that crime is down, but rapes, assaults are up, and then there's this perception issue that people just don't feel safe. You look at what happened just a few weeks ago with the fatal stabbing on the streets. It was a mental health issue there, right? So how are you going to tackle that perception issue of a New Yorker saying, I just don't feel safe?
So two things. First, the mayor announced recently, actually, the day he called me to tell me I was going to be police commissioner, he gave me another gift, which was 1,600 additional cops. Yeah. And I think that's going to make a really big difference. People are going to see and feel the cops more when you have more of them. I worked under Commissioner Bratton, and at the time, we hired 1,000 new cops. That was 2017. 2018 and 2019 were the safest years in the history books since 1950s. Right. So more cops absolutely works. But you touch on the mental health crisis in New York City, and yes, that is something that makes New Yorkers feel less safe. And to address that, it's going to take a whole of government approach. But one thing that I do not accept is those people that pit more police against more services for the mentally ill. Mm-hmm. No, that's a false choice. We need more of both. And the mayor's delivering.
Now, let me break that down, because you said that it was the safest years on record, right? But a New Yorker doesn't believe it.
I said that 2018 and 2019 were the safest years on record since the 1950s. And I was talking about how having more cops on the street actually really makes a difference, not only to crime, but to the perceptions around crime.
So you had said in a recent interview, and this was your quote, if you commit a crime in New York City, regardless of your immigration status, we need to be able to take action. And right now, in certain circumstances, we cannot do that, end quote. So are you talking about repeat offenders? But take the migrant crisis out of it. We'll get to that in a second. A repeat offender who's back on the street. Do you see that as a problem and a hindrance for your ability to keep New York safe as the commissioner?
The mayor has talked about the revolving door of the criminal justice system over and over and over again, very effectively. He cited a statistic that really blew my mind. something like 38 people on the New York City subway system committed 1,162 crimes. That's like 30 crimes a person, and each of those crimes has a victim. New York City doesn't have a crime problem. We have a recidivism problem. And what I want your viewers to know is that the men and women of the New York City Police Department are out there all day, every day, making arrests, keeping them safe. Arrests are up, crime is down. There is more to do. But we also need all of our partners in the criminal justice system to come to the table.
So what does that look like, right? Are you talking about laws changing in Albany to deal with that revolving door? How do you get that done as police commissioner when you need lawmakers to say, okay, maybe we need to roll back some of the things we put in place?
This is what I do, right? I did not come up the ranks as a uniform police officer. I came up the ranks as a civilian, working very effectively with the city council, working very effectively with the state legislature and other stakeholders to make progress for New Yorkers. That is absolutely part of the assignment here.
But why are you so confident you can get it done? If lawmakers haven't yet said, with the pressure before you, that they want to roll back that they don't want to roll back some of the changes, how are you sure you can get it done?
What I said, Dan, was I was going to put my energy and attention to it. This is my second day on the job.
Yes.
Haven't had any of those meetings, and I look forward to coming back once I do and briefing you further.
No, I appreciate that. And you know, it gets to the mental health issue as well. When there's a bed crisis, you know, and things like that. There's been this whole idea of, can you forcefully, as the NYPD, remove people from the street and get them the help they so need? Can you do that? Do you want to do that?
The mayor has been very clear in his support for legislation up in Albany that would provide the NYPD more flexibility in dealing with people in mental health crisis.
Yeah.
That legislation absolutely has to pass.
So I want to talk about overall staffing levels. You talked about the gift the mayor gave you, which was 1,600. But NYPD staffing levels overall are the lowest they've been in 30 years, right? So 1,600 officers is certainly a great gift to you to get things done. But you said you want to return to a time, quote, where you want your children, your grandchildren, your nieces and nephews to follow in footsteps to become police officers, end quote. That was your words in your speech yesterday. So are you saying that right now that's not happening, that people aren't proud or don't want to come to the NYPD?
I believe that the profession of policing is the noblest of professions, and no one does it better than the men and women of the NYPD. And what we need to do is make our cops feel supported. They, for the first time in a while, have a mayor that has their back. And in me, they have a police commissioner that has their back. But also, this mayor always says he is the working class mayor. He just settled 90-some-odd% of his union contracts, including most of the police contracts. So finally, as we go to recruit new officers, they are going to have the benefit of these new contracts.
What's your pitch, right? You go out to recruit. What's your pitch to someone now about becoming a member of the NYPD?
It's the best job in the world. You get to put on that uniform every day and help New Yorkers. Real, tangible stuff. And you have a mayor and a police commissioner that have your back and are here to support you and fight for you.
So you know the criticism that's been out there, that you have never been a uniformed officer and you haven't worked the beat, and so that you may be out of touch with the reality of what a beat cop goes through, right? So I'm going to give you the opportunity to talk to those people who are beat cops right now and what you plan to do to understand what they go through each and every day.
I spent my entire career, or most of my career, supporting the men and women of the New York City Police Department. 12 years. I worked very closely with them, understood what it is they were doing. You can't build technology for them if you don't understand what it is that they're doing day in and day out. I've also worked at the New York City Department of Sanitation, led that agency for 3 years, never was a sanitation worker.
Yeah.
And I think did it quite effectively. And so it is the privilege and honor of a lifetime to now have the opportunity to lead the noblest of the noble departments. And
when you were in the NYPD the first time and your time at sanitation, technology was huge. So and obviously things are advancing each and every day. We're talking about AI and new tricks and tools. There's drones up in the air. What do you want to bring because you love technology, right? And AI, it scares a lot of people, but do you see that playing a factor in some of the crime fighting?
So when I started at the NYPD, there were literally typewriters on every desk and certainly in every precinct. When I left, every cop had a smartphone, a body camera, there were tablets in all the cars, we had the domain awareness system. Technology does not replace police officers, but it is a necessary tool that can really support them in their work. Lots changed since I left the department 4 years ago, especially in the tech space. In the tech space, 4 or 5 years is a really long time. It's like a generation. And so there are new things. There's drones, which the department has started to dabble into that we can really build on, as long as we do it carefully and responsibly. But also the advent of AI represents real opportunities. But again, it's important for it to have guardrails and be done thoughtfully.
Yeah, things like the gun detection system in the subway or that robot, are those trials just a bit of a waste and not things you want to utilize?
I think that there are lots of opportunities to pursue very innovative strategies for technology in the NYPD.
I want to talk about just overall. You had your former bosses in the audience when you were sworn in. Bill Bratton and Ray Kelly were in attendance. Obviously have high praise for you. A lot of people have high praise for you. They call you Jesse Tisch, and I did a lot of research. No one has a bad thing to say about you. I want to talk about your predecessors, though, right? Because Bratton zeroed in on broken windows as his signature policy. Ray Kelly was a time of stop and frisk as a signature policy. Are you, I know it's only day 2, zeroing in on maybe a signature policy of your own that will carry throughout to get the job done of the mission you want to accomplish?
I think the true answer is it's day 2. I've been out of the department for 4 years. There is a lot of briefings that I need to have, but the mayor has been very clear. The mission here is to reduce crime, make people feel safe. Fear has no place on our streets. But the other part of this mission that is like part and parcel of the whole thing is supporting our police officers in the very important work that they're doing.
From grime to crime.
From grime to crime.
Now, you also said you love talking trash.
Are
you upset you're no longer going to be able to talk trash, or are you still going to talk trash?
Oh, I can still talk trash.
Oh, what kind of
in
trash
private,
are you
not
talking
on TV.
Commissioner Tisch, I appreciate you making the time. You are welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much for having me.